Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Staying Positive. There's a tendency to believe that life, as we've experienced to this stage, is the way that life should be. But your life can be better. Your life can be more productive, more rewarding, and more enjoyable. Tonight, we're going to present some wonderful ideas for you that you're going to enjoy, and if you take them away and use them, your life will be different. And now to present our main ideas, help me welcome Patricia Cameron-Hill.
Thanks everybody, and thank you Shayne. Staying positive. Staying positive means controlling your attitude. Staying positive means choosing pleasant thoughts. Staying positive means believing in yourself. And staying positive means accepting responsibility for your life. They are the main ideas that we're going to be presenting for you. Let's start with attitude. How is your attitude? Most people don't think about their attitude very much. They wake up in the morning in neutral and they set it on the first thing that happens to them. If it's something good, they say they're going to have a good day, but if things start to go wrong early, they say it's going to be one of those days. Anybody here have one of those days today? Woke up this morning and the signs were there it was going to be tricky. Yes, what happened to you?
Just about everything.
Just about everything.
Left the watch at home.
Typically what happens is you sleep through the alarm, don't you? What else? Kids come rushing in early. You go to the fridge to make a cup of coffee, get the milk carton out. People have finished it and put it back empty. Does that ever happen to you? In fact, when you get into the car, you know that it's one of those days because you've got a flat battery. And you say to your family before you leave home, I've got a feeling it's going to be one of those days. You get to work and they say we're short of staff. So then you start to smile. By lunchtime, you're giggling a little bit. By afternoon tea, you've lost the faculty for surprise. And you go home that night and you see your partner, see your family, and you say, I told you I was going to have one of them days, and I wasn't disappointed. You see, we get what we think about most. What we expect to happen increases the chances of it happening. Attitudes are contagious. Attitudes are contagious. Have you noticed how it just takes one person to come to work or to school in the morning in a bad mood, and before long they've infected another person and they are negative. And then a few more people, and by lunchtime the whole department's in a bad mood. By the end of the day, the whole organisation or school's in a bad mood, just because one person turned up miserable in the morning. Attitudes are contagious. Is yours worth catching? Let's see now how I transfer my negative attitude to Shayne, who's going to be arriving. Let's say you'll be arriving for work on your first day in this organisation, and I'm going to be there to meet him.
Hello. Excuse me. I'm Shayne Yates.
So?
Well, I'm starting work here this morning.
You're what?
Well, isn't this the accounts department?
Well, it's the accounts department, but no one told me about you starting this morning. You sure you're meant to be here?
Yeah, personnel sent me down here to...
Oh, that is absolutely typical of personnel. They never know what they're doing. No one tells you anything around here. You've got to ask them when you want pay. They don't even remember to pay you.
Oh, no.
Have you met the boss, Wayne?
Shayne.
Yeah, you met the boss, Wayne?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was really impressed with him.
Wait till Monday mornings. Very tricky. Very tricky on a Monday.
Oh, no.
Now, I suppose you've got some good... What made you decide to work here, by the way, Wayne?
Oh, Shayne.
Yeah. Wayne, what made you decide to work here?
Well, I live down the end of the street and I thought it'd be great to work here.
Yeah. We thought so too, Mary. Remember that? We thought it'd be fun to work here. I suppose you've got some good ideas, have you, Wayne?
Shayne, yeah. Yeah, I've got lots of ideas.
Look, take a bit of advice from Mary and me. Do your job, go home and forget about it. I mean, we put through ideas. Remember that idea you had, Mary, 10 years ago now? Oh, you're so excited about that. And where did it finish up? You never heard about it again once you gave it to the boss. Do your job, forget the place, Wayne.
Shayne.
Now, I think it's tea time.
Is it? Oh,
yep.
Good.
Come and meet the team.
Yeah?
This is Wayne Gates, everybody. Say hello.
Shayne.
Say hello, Wayne. OK, let's have a cup of tea.
Well, I suppose I could get used to being called Wayne.
Do we do that? Do we do that? We can't bear to see them looking happy. They come into the morning tea room and we've got to share our misery. Now, there's not a lot of negative people, but boy, they seem to get around, don't they? Those people with those long faces look like they've been weaned on pickles. If they're walking along the street, fine $5, pick it up, they complain it's not a 10. Nothing is ever good enough. They win lotto. And they complain that they hadn't won it the week before because there was more money. Negative people. Now, the question is, will my negative attitude that I've transferred to Wayne or Shayne affect his performance? I think it will. I think attitude more than anything affects how well we do at school or whether that's at work. Attitude. Well, I had a recent example of someone with a negative attitude that, well, let me tell you what happened. I was staying in a hotel, ordered breakfast, and at 7 o'clock in the morning there's a knock on my door. And in came the maid with the breakfast tray. And this is what she said to me, very negative. This is what she said to me as she brought in the food. Terrible day outside, have you seen it? It's raining cats and dogs. Put the tray down. The milk almost turned sour. What a negative attitude. Well, I looked up at her and I said, well, it's true that it's raining outside, but we don't have to judge the day by the weather, do we? She started backing towards the door when she heard that. I said, just before you go, there's something else. I've been reading the newspaper this morning. I've been reading about all the people that did not wake up this morning. The fact that you and I woke up, we're alive, it's a miracle. She said, who are you? Question, do we judge the day by the weather? I think we do. If it's sunny, if it's fine, we say it's going to be a wonderful day. If it's raining, we say, oh, it always rains on the days off. Or it always rains on the weekend. 90% of the way you feel on any one day is determined by the way you want to feel. Were you aware of that? You see, you can control your attitude. And sometimes it's the only thing in your day that you can control. And what about this business of waking up? How many of you were surprised that you actually woke up this morning? Put your hand up if you... Oh, you got a surprise this morning. I think we take it for granted, don't we? We take it for granted. You see people... I saw someone wearing a T-shirt the other day. Life's a bitch and then you die. So, what a terrible attitude. Some people wake up in the morning and they say, another day, another dollar. The way I look at life, I see life as a holiday on earth. How many of you would see life that way? Holiday on... How have you never thought about this before? Holiday on earth. Well, it's a good question to ask, isn't it? Are we here to endure our lives or enjoy them? What do you think? Who says enjoy? Who says endure, that the fun's coming later? Well... People are unsure about where we're going to finish up, but one thing that we're quite certain about is that this is not a rehearsal. We are on, and there is no rematch, there is no encore. So we need to be happy now. We live in an imperfect world. We need to find ways of being happy now. There are so many good things going on around us, and I think in tough times we lose sight of those. Let's just check on the things we've got to be thankful for. Let me ask you, anybody here, how many people of you here, get 3 meals a day, don't have to worry about where your food's coming from? You're still being fed. Put your hand up if you're still... All right. Who here has got a roof over their head? You don't have to worry about where you're going to sleep tonight. Most of us know where we're going to sleep tonight. All right. How many people here have got a car in the family that works and you can afford to fill it up with petrol? All right. How many people here got someone in the family who loves you or says they love you? All right. How many of you could leave this room right now and buy something if you really wanted to? All right. So what are we complaining about? What are we complaining about? We've got a lot to be thankful for. But I think sometimes in difficult times we lose sight of the good things. Now, staying positive doesn't mean that we bury our heads in the sand. There are some terrible things going on around us. But it does mean that we don't dwell on the negative. It's okay to be depressed, it's okay to be unhappy, but it's not okay to stay stuck. Attitude. You can control your attitude. Well, in contrast to that negative person in the hotel, we stayed somewhere else once and there was someone positive. Let me tell you what happened to me. Went down to the dining room. It was about 7 o'clock again, busy. And eventually the waitress came over to ask for my order. And as she did that, I said to her, "Gee, you're having a busy morning." And this is what she said. "Isn't it wonderful? If these people keep coming in here, I've still got a job." I said, "Who are you?" I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that. What is your attitude? What is your attitude? We can control our attitude. Shayne, how about you come back now and I'll be a positive person.
Hello there.
Hi, hi, hi.
Is this the accounts department?
It certainly is. I'm Patricia Cameron Hill. You're?
Shayne Yates.
Yes, Shayne. How can I help you?
Well, I'm starting work here today.
Welcome. You've made a good decision. You'll enjoy it here.
Oh, wow.
Why, we enjoy it so much here. Well, we'd do it for nothing if we could. We'd work here for nothing if we could.
Oh, are you sure?
The fact they pay us, it's a real bonus, Shayne. What made you pick this place?
Oh, well, I live down the road. I've always wanted to work here.
Handy. Oh, I've always wanted to work here and I've not been sorry. Have you met the boss yet?
Well, yes, he seemed very nice.
What a wonderful man. Catch him on a Monday morning, nothing he won't give you.
Oh, great.
You're going to enjoy yourself here. Meet the team. This is Shayne, everybody.
Hi, everyone. There are a lot of them, aren't there?
Well, Shayne, it's our morning tea break, but I don't think we'll have it. Do you? I think we'll work through it. Maybe staying positive, maybe controlling your attitude has got something to do with the way we respond to the question, how are you? How are you? Shayne? How are you today?
Oh, not bad.
How was your weekend?
Oh, not too bad.
How often we do that? Anybody here say not bad without thinking? Not bad. Or the weekend not too bad. What does that mean? You're expecting something pretty awful, but as it turned out, it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. All right. No matter how you're feeling, when somebody asks you how you are, choose something positive. Choose a positive response. After all, do you think people are really interested in your misery? When we ask people how they are, do we really want to know? We're hoping they won't tell us. All right. Here are some responses you can choose from. Shayne, how are you?
Sensational.
Now that's better. You must smile. You must smile because it gets people wondering about you just a little bit. And you do feel better. You feel better when you smile. Or this response. How are you, Shayne?
Terrific and improving.
Way out, is it? Or finally, how are you, Shayne?
On top of the world, Patricia. It's less crowded there.
All right, let's check. Who here is sensational? Who is terrific and improving? Who's on top of the world, it's less crowded? Who's still not sure how they are? All right, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Attitudes are important. Choosing pleasant thoughts. Choosing pleasant thoughts. We have a choice over the thoughts that we think. Why is it that when we've had a terrible day, we go home and complain to the family, we say it's been a terrible day today, and we complain for about an hour, and if we're not getting their attention, we exaggerate just a little bit, and when they are as miserable as we are, we start to cheer up. Have you ever had something unpleasant happen to you, and you say the words, "I can't stop thinking about it"? I can't stop thinking about it. We have a choice over the thoughts we think. Thoughts are powerful. Think about what you want, not what it is you don't want. Let's prove how powerful thoughts are. Have you ever had the experience where you've been thinking about somebody, there's a knock on the door, you go to the door, and the person you're thinking about is at that door? How many of you have been thinking about somebody, the phone rings, and you say to yourself, "I bet I know who that is." Pick up the phone, and who's on the end of the line? The person you're thinking about. Have you ever not written to somebody in years? They write to you, you write to them, your letters cross in the mail. You know, we call that coincidence. We call it coincidence. But is there another reason? Is there another reason? Is there another explanation for why that happens? Here's one. Everything within the universe, the biosphere, people in it, objects, our thoughts are a form of energy. And when you have an accumulation of positive energy, you move towards a positive event. When you have an accumulation of negative energy, you move towards a negative event. So the thoughts you think influence the life you live. Have you ever been into the tea room in the morning or felt pretty happy and you've gone to have a cup of tea or met up with some people and they are so negative that when you've been with them for about 5 or 10 minutes you come away feeling the same way? Have you ever noticed that when you're in a bad mood and things are going wrong, you hurt yourself? In fact, you say, now I've hurt myself. And when things are going well, you say, I'm on a roll. It's curious what we say to ourselves, isn't it? Because when things are going really well, we say it's too good to last. Have you ever said that's too good to last? And when things are going wrong, we say it always comes in threes. It always comes in threes. So when we're having a good time, we want to shorten it. When things are going wrong, we want more of it. So let's get back to thoughts. We have a choice over the thoughts we think. If you look at the human mind, we know that it's very much like a computer. But it's much more magnificent than a computer because indeed it invented the computer. But it's come to us without an instruction manual. It's like a neck top without an instruction manual. And what we're doing here, we're going to give you some ideas for programming your neck top to live a better life. Now imagine the human mind as an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg above the waterline, but underneath the waterline is the subconscious mind. So we've got the conscious mind above the waterline, the subconscious below the waterline. Now, most of our thinking occurs in the subconscious mind. We are in constant dialogue with ourselves 24 hours a day in the subconscious. And we talk to ourselves around 500 words a minute. But did you know that most of what we talk to ourselves about is negative? Most of it's negative. We say things like, oh, I don't get a park. All my friends get a park, but I never get a park. I'm always broke. I'm always broke. When I get money, I spend it so I can feel normal again. I get 2 colds every year. I've had one and now I'm getting another one. Have you had that experience? Thoughts. Thoughts are powerful. Where do we get negative thoughts from? Where do we get negative thoughts from? What influences our thinking? The radio? Television? Newspapers? Negative people? No one gives us thoughts. We have a choice over them. But we are bombarded with so much negativity. How many of you, for example, have ever known the pain of being dumped in a relationship? Wink, so you won't be embarrassed. Wink, wink, wink if you've been dumped. And you're just getting over this and you think, I'll cheer myself up and put on the radio. And you hear these songs. Something's missing in my life, baby, it's you. They call these love songs, of course. I think they're more like misery songs. You rarely put on the radio and hear things like, since you left me, I've never been happier. I've never looked back. You just don't hear that. Thoughts are powerful. What you think about the most becomes real for you. That's why when the athletes are about to swim a race, what are they thinking up on the blocks? They think, oh, she looks better than me. I think she's going to beat me. They're thinking win, 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 because it increases the probability of them winning. Now, thoughts produce feelings. Thoughts produce feelings, and feelings have an effect on the way that we behave, our interactions with other people, and also our body. They have a biological impact. Would you be interested to know what impact negative thoughts have as opposed to positive thoughts on the body? Would that interest you? Yes. Right? Shayne, would you like to talk about that?
Thank you, Patricia. Doctors have been interested for a long time of the effect that emotions have on our bodies and our health. For example, if you're feeling a bit unhappy or down and things aren't going right, you get sick or you get a cold. Or if you're feeling upset and you try to eat, the food stops there, it just won't move down. Well, research has been done, and I'm here to tell you that it has been positive. What they did was, they got a group of people together and they took blood samples after they'd been exposed to negative thoughts and negative energies. Negative thoughts like resentment, blame, remorse, anger, unforgiveness, fear, panic. And then, when they tested the blood, they found that the cells of the immune system, that's the part of the body that fights disease, the cells were reduced. They then repeated the experiment with the same people, but this time they were exposed to positive thoughts. Positive thoughts like hope, faith, happiness, love, a sense of purpose, and laughter. And what happened? The cells were raised. Thoughts and emotions have an impact on our body and our health. In fact, we were talking to an immunologist recently, and she said that even if you fake happiness by smiling, it has a positive effect on your immune system. So never underestimate the power of a smile. Patricia?
Thank you, Shayne. Well, let's learn how to smile. Most people don't smile. Have you noticed that? Most people don't smile. And if you do smile, you get into trouble. They say things like, "What are you on? What have you got to smile about?" Smiling has a biological effect. It has a positive effect on your body. So that's one reason to smile. And there's another reason to smile. There's nothing mysterious about a smile, just the results it gets. What does a smile show people? That you care about them, that you're happy, that you're willing to help, that you're approachable. You can change your life if you begin to smile. I'm going to teach you how to smile. Now, we must involve muscles, not those little, those energy-conserving smiles. Sit up straight and teach how to smile. Imagine that you've got an apple on that cheek and an apple on that cheek, and on the count of 3, we are going to lift the apples. Now, I want you all to wet your lips first, because some of you are going to crack them if you don't. All right, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, lift your apples. This is no good. Some of you are not showing your teeth, and I know why, because I've been looking at them. Some of you got a little bit of crowding, some of you got gaps, some of you got discoloration, some of your teeth are moving. Now if your teeth move, get a little bit of blue tack, stick it under the plate, because it's no good going to burst into a spontaneous smile and lose your teeth. Now let's try this again on the count of 3. Lift your apples and show your teeth. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Lift your apples. Wonderful. So, as Shayne says, the immunologist we're talking to, is even when you're faking that, even when you don't feel that happy inside, but you smile or force a laugh, it has a positive effect. Is that useful to know? Is that useful to know? So, choose pleasant thoughts. We have a choice over the thoughts we think, and yet we say, "I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about it." You can stop thinking about anything the minute you decide to, the second you decide to. How many of you wake up in the middle of the night, can't get back to sleep? All right. So you lie there thinking to yourself 500 words a minute. "I can't sleep, going to be tired tomorrow. Can't sleep, tired tomorrow. Can't sleep, tired." And what happens? You can't sleep and you're tired tomorrow because you said it to yourself 500 times. Now, think about what it is you want, not what it is you don't want. Here's what I suggest you say. You wake up in the middle of the night, say this to yourself. "I'm very tired and I'd like to be asleep. I'm very tired and I'd like to be asleep. I'm very tired." Now, you don't have to feel tired to say this. What we know about the subconscious is it doesn't know the difference between fiction and reality. It just believes whatever goes in there. That's the essence of brainwashing, isn't it? People don't believe that to start with, but as the process of brainwashing continues, they believe the information they hear over and over and over. So, "I'm very tired, I'd like to be asleep." Please don't say it 3 times and say, "Oh, that stuff doesn't work." You've got to give it a go. You wake up in the morning. How many times we wake up and say, "Gee, I'm tired"? All right, something else. You wake up in the morning and say, "Gee, I'm full of energy. Gee, I'm full of energy. I can't wait to get to work. In fact, I won't even call it work, I'll call it fun." What would happen? What would happen if we exchanged the word work for fun? What if we called problems opportunities? What if we called the alarm clock an opportunity clock? See, words are powerful. We say, "I hate school, I hate homework, I hate this job." What you say over and over will become real for you. And that's why we suggest that when someone asks you how you're feeling, you say something positive, because your feelings will eventually catch up with the words. Thoughts are powerful. Think about what it is you want. And yet you hear people say, "I can never forgive him." Or "I can forgive, but I can never forget." Yes, we can. We can think different thoughts the second we decide to. So staying positive, choose pleasant thoughts. Our next idea is to believe in yourself. Do you ever doubt yourself? Do you ever compare yourself with other people? Do you ever put yourself down? You make a cake for somebody and you say, "I've made your cake, but it's a little bit dry." You mow their lawn and you say, but I haven't done the edges. You make a dress and you say, don't look at the seams. We put ourselves down. When we're faced with a new challenge, a new opportunity to go ahead and be a success, do we hold back? I think sometimes we do. Self-confidence comes from feeling good about yourself. And that comes from an image that we carry in our minds about who we are and what we can do. And that image is based on what people have told us about us. It's also based on our experiences, our interpretation of those experiences. Let me ask you something. What negative feedback did you get from Mum and Dad when you were a kid? Who heard some negative feedback? I grew up believing my first name was for goodness sake. For goodness sake, do this. Who heard something negative? Something negative as you're growing up. Yes?
That I'll never finish anything.
That you'll never finish anything.
It's true.
And you never have. You see, every time this person gets close to finishing something, her little self-talk says, you won't finish, you won't finish, you won't... And of course you don't finish.
That's right.
It's become your reality. Who else heard something negative when you're growing up? Why can't you be like your sister? Why can't you be like your brother? Dad, because I'm not my brother. I'm me, and if I was my brother, I'd be exactly like my brother. What else did you hear? My father said to me when I was growing up, this will surprise you, he said, Patricia, you've got a big mouth. And one of these days it'll get you into trouble. Anybody here heard that? All of my life I heard that. I went through my life believing that my biggest weakness was my mouth. But what if my father had said to me, Patricia, you can talk. Patricia, you can talk. I would have been selling Amway. I would have been selling motor cars. I would have been up here presenting seminars when I was much, much younger, because yes, you need to know what you're talking about to do this, but what you really need is courage. And that comes from believing in yourself. What did you hear at school? What sort of feedback on your reports? Messy writing, could do better, disruptive influence, talks too much, lacks concentration. And what do we hear at work? Most of the feedback at work is negative, isn't it? Or they don't give you any at all. They say, we'll let you know if you're messing things up, otherwise we'll leave you alone. What about amongst your family? Most feedback from your family, if you get any at all, is negative. You're not going out in that, are you? Most of the feedback is negative. And that's how we form an image of ourselves. There is something for you people to know. And that is this, that you are unique. There's not another person in the entire world that can do what you do exactly the way you do it. That gives you 3 inches in height. Must give you 3 inches. You are special. You are unique. You have a special contribution to make. And the one thing we know about human potential is this, that most of us operate a smidgen of what we're capable of doing and achieving every day. Did you know that? So what holds us back? Believing in ourselves. And it doesn't matter how you feel about yourself right now, you can change that. I was in George's recently, George's department store, in the powder room, and I'm always sneaking up on people, eavesdropping, listening to conversations. I call it research for the business that I'm in. Well, I was just about to leave the powder room, and there were 4 ladies lined up looking in the mirror, and they were all criticising themselves as they were looking in the mirror. I said, stop! Do you realise what you're doing? You are magnificent, beautiful human beings, wonderful women, and you're looking in that mirror and criticising yourselves. They said, who are you? I said, have you ever thought about this? They said, my goodness, she's right. And of course I had to stop and give a little seminar. But they didn't realise that's what they were doing. We put ourselves down, we criticise ourselves. Doesn't matter how you feel about yourself right now, you can change that. You need to get some positive input. Why, when we're given a compliment, for example, do we send it back? Do we do that? Shayne?
Hello, Patricia.
Oh, hi.
Gee, that's a nice dress you're wearing.
Oh, this old rag, I've had it for years. It's nothing special, Shayne.
Oh, you've had it for a while then, have you?
Oh, donkey's years.
Oh, that explains why it looks so out of fashion. Oh, your hair looks nice.
Oh, needs a wash. Never sits right till I've washed it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's greasy, isn't it? Oh, you need to do something about that. Oh, and I think you've got a bit of dandruff too. Patricia, look, I want you to know that you're the best workmate that I've ever had.
Oh, go on, Shayne. You're saying that. What about Ruth? She's better than I am.
Oh, yeah, forgot about Ruth. Yeah.
Now, why do we do that? Why do we send back the compliment? You tell me. When you get a compliment, why do we send it back? We don't accept it. Why do we have trouble with that? Yes?
Modesty.
Modesty. That means you're not getting enough or you get used to it. Yes? We're taught. We're taught, aren't we? Yes, humility. Who else? We don't believe it. Embarrass means also that you're not hearing enough good news about yourself. What else? Lack of confidence. What you're saying is that you don't believe it, that you know the truth about you. And so you've got to let them know. Someone takes a photo of us and we show the photo. Is that me? We tell people what they don't know. We stand up in front of a group and we say, gee, I'm nervous. Well, why do we do that? Believing in yourself starts with giving and receiving compliments. Even if you don't believe it, your subconscious is desperate for a little bit of good news about you. 500 words a minute's what we think. 500 words a minute, and 80% of that is negative. Let some good news through. Shayne?
Hello, Patricia.
Hello.
Gee, that's a nice dress you're wearing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Your hair looks nice.
Thanks very much. Any more?
Well, Patricia, I want you to know that you're the best workmate that I've ever had.
Thanks for saying that, Shayne. I work hard at that.
You need to.
Just say thank you. Thank you. Let the compliment through. Our next idea for believing in yourself is to get rid of that word should. I should do this, I should do that. We finish work for the day. On the way home, we think about all the things we should have done, don't we? Should. Should is a word that makes a prisoner of you. It says that you have failed or you're going to fail. Should. Do you know there's nothing in this world that you really have to do? Something's better for you if you do them, but should. It comes from other people's expectations, doesn't it? Some of them unrealistic. Some of our own expectations being unrealistic. Get rid of should. This is a should conversation. I should go home tonight. I should mow the lawn. I should start that report. I should put dinner on. I should straighten the beds. I should put a load of washing on. Should. Makes a prisoner of you. Get rid of should, and whenever you're about to use should in a conversation, replace it with could. Could. This is a could conversation. It lets you know you've got choices. I could go home tonight. I could start writing that report. I could mow the lawn. I could put dinner on. I could straighten the beds. I could start the washing, but I am not going home tonight. Could. Could let you know that you've got choices. What about mistakes? Do we make mistakes? Are we allowed to make mistakes? Well, how come when we make a mistake do we feel so awful inside? Do we feel that we've disappointed ourselves? We are here to learn, and the only way we can learn is to make mistakes. Like the IBM manager working for Tom Watson. This is a true story, IBM manager. He made a mistake that cost IBM $10 million. Is that a big mistake? Well, the manager thought so. And as Tom Watson, the founder of IBM, called him into his office to talk about this mistake, the manager thought to himself, gee, I'm going to be sacked. I'm going to be fired. And he walked in the office and he said, just before you go on, Mr. Watson, I'll understand if you want to sack me. I'll understand if you want to fire me. I'll understand if you want to let me go. Mr. Watson said, sack you? Fire you? Let you go? After we have just spent $10 million on your education? Could we keep that in mind? Could we keep that in mind? All right, so we make a mistake. What are the words we have for ourselves when we make a mistake? You idiot. You idiot. Choice, isn't it? What else? You fool.
Loser.
Loser. I knew you'd do that. Should have known better. That's typical. Numbskull. These are choices. Do you think your subconscious needs to hear that? When you make a mistake, when you effect a learning opportunity, when you make a mistake, separate the mistake from you. Say, that was a stupid thing to do, but I'm not stupid. You see? Because it's the action that's stupid, not you, especially with children. That was a stupid thing to do, but you're not stupid. I love you. Because otherwise they will internalise that message and it gets in the way. So learn from the mistake, separate the mistake, and concentrate on what you've got right. When you finish work for the day, on the way home, think about all the things you did do. Here's an idea, little weird, brace yourselves. 3 times a day, or as often as you pass a mirror in the toilet, walking down the street in the reflection of a store, give yourself a little wave and a smile. Give yourself a little wave and a smile. Now, why would I suggest you do that? No one else will. Well, it's risky. It's risky when you're waiting for somebody else. I asked Shayne to do this one day to test out the idea and see how it felt. And he went into the bathroom. I said, go in there, give yourself a little wave, come back and tell me how it felt. Well, he went in, came out, and I said, well, how did you go? And he said, well, I was okay, but the guy in the mirror got a hell of a shock. Give yourself a little wave in the mirror and a smile. See, it's acknowledging you. It's saying we're on the same team. Or do this. I had a difficult day one day, went to the mirror, I knew we had to have a talk. And this is what I did. I said, you're doing okay. Oh, she was thrilled. She was absolutely, see, she thought she wasn't. We are hard on ourselves. We've got a friend who says that when she gets up in the morning, first thing she does, goes over to the mirror and she says, morning, gorgeous. Someone at one of our seminars said, do you mean before she puts on her makeup? Now, gentlemen, good idea to wait till you're alone in the toilet before you give yourself a little wave as well. But you see, it's acknowledging you. It's saying that you're okay. It's accepting yourself. Why do we worry about what other people think? Why do we do that? What other people think of you is none of your business. Could you keep that in mind? You set your own standards. You're doing okay. You have a difficult day? Into the mirror. Have a little bit of criticism? Into the mirror. Got a complaint? Into the mirror. You have a go at being assertive, you don't succeed? Into the mirror. And for the reason that the person in the front said, it's risky waiting for somebody else to praise you, isn't it? It's risky waiting for a little bit of positive feedback. Another idea for believing in yourself is to get yourself a good news box. A good news box. Go to a shoe shop, get the box, leave the shoes there, and cover it with nice bright paper. And inside, put all the good news, all the good things that have ever happened to you. Cards from people, thank you cards, certificates from courses, congratulations. I've got here a letter from someone that was sent in a bottle into the good news box. And then when you feel discouraged, do you feel discouraged at times? Do you think, what's the use of going on? What's the use of trying? Say to your family, say to your friends or your workmates, excuse me, pick up your good news box and go off to the toilet. Sit down, and you read the contents. After 10 minutes of doing that, you step outside and they don't stand a chance. Get yourself a good news box. Thank you, Shayne. So improving your self-image. And one last idea on that. How about if you haven't got something good to say about yourself, don't say anything. Don't put yourself down. Know that you are special. Know that you are capable of achieving the things that you want to achieve, that you are unique with a special contribution to make. And our final idea for staying positive is to accept responsibility for your life. How often do we blame other people? We say it's not my fault. I do. That's why I'm never without one of these. My own personal, tailored blame list. And on here, I've got a list of people who I hold responsible for my life. Mum and Dad. Mum and Dad, head of the list because they started it. And I didn't ask to be born, and you can't pick your parents. And I think if you saw my mum and dad, you'd know why I'm like I am. See, it's not in my blood to be positive. We're all negative. School. See, I had a schooling of deprivation. I went through primary school and high school with 5 Columbia short coloured pencils. I had to put 2 colours together to get a 6th. I had to colour the mountains and the sea the same colour. No money for a razor. I had to use fresh bread. Dad's Gillette couldn't afford a pencil sharpener. Now, people here have had a better schooling than me. Anyone here go to a private school? Where are you? Now, look, see, you've had a chance now. Take you, for instance. I bet you had 72 Derwent-coloured pencils. No, did you have Lakeland? You think so? See, they took it for granted. These people go to private schools. But you see, with coloured pencils like that, I mean, where am I? My mum and dad sent me to a high school, a tech school. They said, you'll learn how to be a good wife and mother there. I majored in millinery. Been profoundly useful to me in my career as a nurse, being able to make hats. See, I haven't had a chance, my job. Dad said, do your nursing, get your ticket, you'll be set for life. I was a nice girl before I became a nurse. I used to walk like a lady down the street. All my friends could keep up with me. I used to eat slowly. Now I go to a dinner party, I've eaten it all in 5 minutes and I'm washing up. Oh no, of course, I think my family was hoping I'd pick up a doctor, but I didn't. Some of my friends did, but they weren't fussy. But I blame this job, and see, when I get another one, I'll be positive, but there's no point in trying now, you know what I mean? Bad luck. I'm an unlucky person. If there's a door prize, I sit next to it. Anyone know that? If I go into a raffle, they'll say, oh, here's your tickets, dear, and I'll say, I won't need them, and I never have. I've never needed them. But I've got a friend. Now, I must tell you about my friend. Gee, she makes me sick. Have you got a friend that makes you sick? Gee, she makes me sick. She is so lucky, wins everything. Last year, she won a trip to Tasmania. Still down there trying to win one back. But me, no, I'm just been unlucky all my life. The government's on my list as well because they've ruined the country. See, what's the point of trying? And then they. If I run out of people to blame, I just blame they. Because they should fix it. See, I'm okay. These people got a problem. Who's on your blame list? Who's on your blame list? Have you got a blame list? Do you see that it's helpful in the short term? Because it says that you're not responsible for your life. You can say, I never had a chance. I never had the opportunity. But you're responsible for your life. You say you're not responsible, it means you can never say you're irresponsible. Do you see how useful this is? But it gives these people power. But if you want your life to be more rewarding, more productive and enjoyable, this has to go. Tear up the blame list and accept responsibility. It's not the brakes, it's not fate, it's not the economy, it is you. You are in charge. You must accept responsibility for your life. And remember these powerful 10 two-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. If it is to be, it is up to me. There are no excuses if you believe that. So staying positive is about controlling your attitude. It's about choosing pleasant thoughts. It's about believing in yourself and tearing up your blame list. And it means you'll have to break away from the crowd. Do you know the majority of people out there would rather curse the darkness than light one single candle? So we're saying break away from the crowd, stay positive and enjoy the benefits. Thank you. Thank you.